This is I Should Be Writing, Season 22, Episode 6.
Well, I should be writing. I should be working on my craft. I should be writing. I should be submitting my next draft. But I'm sitting home watching Doctor Who.
And hi there, welcome to I Should Be Writing. This is a podcast for wannabe fiction writers by a writer who's still figuring things out. My name is Mur Lafferty, and I've written about 8 or 9 books. I can't even count anymore. I don't know why. And I've been podcasting since 2004 about writing. And so either I'm really good at it or I repeat myself a lot. I'm going to go with number 1 because, otherwise why would I keep doing it? I keep doing it because people seem to get a lot out of it because I'm very honest on this show. I do not present the polished look of the fancy author who has everything under control. I'm here to say I'm kind of a mess, and if you feel like you're a mess, you're not alone. That's what this show's about. I loved it when I called the show, when I titled it, I Should Be Writing. I gave it a title, and now it's like people love it. Even if they don't know the show, I bring the little I Should Be Writing ribbons to cons, and people love them. And then I talked to a friend of mine who was becoming a personal coach, and she's like, no, you shouldn't say should. Should is not, of course, she just said that, but should is not something that should be in your vocabulary. It's all active and I will or I won't and all this. And I'm like, well, I think should's going to stay around, especially because it's the title of my podcast. A little bit of bad news. Okay, huge amount of bad news for me. On Monday, we took our dog to the vet to just check her out because she was acting a little strangely. It turns out she was highly anemic and dying, and we had to put her down very, very unexpectedly. And I bring this up because people have, know about Rosa. I talk about her a lot. And, people on the live stream might see her wander in, and that won't be happening anymore. But because of that badness, I didn't get a lot done this week. Today's probably the best I've felt. It's still just a shock. But anyway, I did get some writing done on Monday, and I'm realizing that I'm balking on my book because I don't know what stands in the way of my main character going to Act 2. I know what could stand. It's not like I have no idea what's going on. It's more that I don't know if she doesn't want to go there and she is forced to, or I don't know if she wants to go there but has previously been unable to. So, those motivations kind of drive the book, and so I should probably figure it out. But I did get a little bit written on Monday before all the badness happened. So today I'm going to be talking about regret and spite, which are 2 things that I feel loom heavily in my life, maybe other authors too, maybe other creatives too. But first I want to talk about books, because publicists send me books, whether I'm interviewing their author or not. They'll sometimes just send me books. And I already buy books. So we have a lot of books in the house. And so I realized that I'm being unfair to the authors because I'm getting their books, but if I'm not interviewing them, I'm not really doing much of anything. So I'm going to be talking about some new books first this week. So first, I want to remind people, Nobody's Baby by Olivia Waite. I had Olivia on last week, and she was a delight to talk to. This is a novella series from Tor.com, and it's space murder mystery, but it feels kind of like a hotel detective kind of thing, where this older woman is the detective in a weird generation spaceship. And it's delightful. I really like Olivia's style. It's a lot of fun. And I did not put a link to that in the chat, but the book is Nobody's Baby by Olivia Waite. You can either search for it or check out the show notes when I put this podcast up. Speaking of putting the podcast up, I've started to release the video via Patreon. So if you want to get the whole video of stuff I say before this, and sometimes stuff I say after, unless it's like, oh, we're going to a raid now, then check out patreon.com/mightymur. The second one I want to talk about, and this is one of those, I've not talked to the publicist. This is one of those that I read about it and I had to have it. And it's called Hell's Heart by Alexis Hall. And if you remember having Sarah Gailey on last year and their novel Spread Me, this feels very similar, and Sarah blurbed it. It's Kelly Robson says it's like Gangbusters, entirely unhinged. John Scalzi says, wow. Sarah Gailey says, Hell's Heart is a startling, ferocious love letter to all the rawest emotions the human body can produce. Moby Dick meets Treasure Island by way of Fleabag. Gideon the Ninth has also been listed as a comp to this. So it just seems like it's a Moby Dick in space. And there's also weird stuff. The Mobius Beast. Anyway, I just can't wait to read this. I heard about it and I had to have it. So that's Hell's Heart. Yes, it is a lot of things for one book, K. Kimmy, and I think that would be... It's one of those things that if you can pull it off, it's going to be awesome. I mean, Gideon the Ninth is swords and necromancy and lesbians in space. And, yeah, that book pulled it off. Next, I don't have this here now, but I should have a copy next week. And that is The Hospital at the End of the World. I'm going to have it next week because I'm going to have Justin C. Key, the author, on the show next week. So if you are into The Hospital at the End of the World, you can check it out before he's on the show. So you'll have a better idea even of what to ask him. This is a thrilling first novel set in a near future where artificial intelligence runs the world, involving a young medical student who must unravel family secrets to uncover the truth of his father's mysterious death. Something we're edging closer to every day. The Shepherd organization oversees every medical school in the country, save one in New Orleans, the Renegade Hippocrates, which still insists on human-led medicine. So, I'm already intrigued. I was excited when I heard about this, and even more excited when I heard Justin would be on the show. So we're going to have him next week. So if you check out the book, please let me know, and let me know what you want to ask him. Next, I'm not interviewing this author, but I am getting a copy of the book to give away, Ruinous Creatures by Jessie Cole Jackson. And this is claimed, everybody will be excited, for fans of T. Kingfisher and One Dark Window. A standalone romantasy debut about a woman who accidentally awakens the power to siphon magic from two phoenix skulls, that's hard to say, binding her fate to a vengeful stranger and forcing them to navigate the devastating cost of their unbreakable bond. So, I mean, pull in the magic from the skulls, that's the hook that I got. That's what I want to read. When there's the magic and the skulls, and people do weird stuff with skull magic. I love it. It makes me so happy. Ruinous Creatures came out March 10th, which was 2 days ago. And The Hospital at the End of the World was out in February, so you should be able to find that. Okay, next on the list is one of the best titles of spring, which is You Should Have Been Nicer to My Mom, by Vincent Tirado. Demons clash with inheritance claims as secrets unfold and violence is unleashed over 12 harrowing hours trapped in a house with the worst thing imaginable: family. When Papa Ramon, the patriarch of the wealthy Abreu family, dies, he gives the family one last message in the will. One of you is Albaca, the demon I made a deal with. Get rid of them or you will be damned. People are not pulling punches with hooks these days, so... That is, You Should Have Been Nicer to My Mom. I got it from the publisher today. Because I'm not getting paid, I don't know if I should say this, but let's see, I was sent Nobody's Baby. I was sent You Should Have Been Nicer to My Mom. Hospital at the End of the World and Ruinous Creatures should be coming next week, so I will be getting that. And I purchased Hell's Heart on my own, so whatever disclosure I have to do, I have not received any money or anything, just the free books, except for the one that wasn't free. But yes, those have come to my door, and I'd like to give them away next week. Here's my problem. If anybody has a solution, I'd love to hear it. Because I've been doing this live stream for about going on 6 years? Maybe? 5 or 6. I still have the feeling of more connection with the people who show up for the live stream, even though that number is very small. So it's more exciting to give a book away on a live stream, but also I want more listeners to have opportunity for that. So while I do like live stream giveaways, I think I might do them, but make them not as common as giveaways in the podcast. So yeah, those are the books that have been on my radar. I'm excited to say that Ursula Vernon is going on book tour, and she'll be coming to Chapel Hill on Monday the 23rd. Ursula will be at the Flyleaf Books on the 23rd, and I'm going to be interviewing her. And she is promoting Wolfworm, which I don't have the cover of, but you can pre-order it. It's coming out the 24th. And you can get signed copies from Flyleaf Books. But the reason why I bring it up is I have gotten permission from both Ursula and the Flyleaf Books to live stream this event. So it'll be Monday night around 6 or 6:30. I think they're going to do a signing beforehand and then the author event. So I'm not sure exactly when that'll start, but it will be live streamed, and then I'll put it in the Patreon for people to watch and or listen to. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, it'll be in person. She'll be in person. I'll be in person. My kid's doing the recording. I'm excited. But on to other topics. I have a lot of anthropomorphic things that I've described. When I got when I did the creative coaching, I think back in 20 or 21, one coach said, name your inner editor, give it a name, draw it if you can. And I've heard other coach type people say that. So then you can look something in the eye and go, just please shut up. I don't want to hear this. My first one was, I call him Bart. He's a potato. He's an angry potato. But then I soon realized that there are a lot more than just Bart. There's one that doesn't tell me I suck, but tells me everybody else is better. There's just despair, which is just like, we might as well just give up. There are quote unquote positive ones, which distract you from writing by claiming that whatever they're doing is more important, like cleaning or having fun. When I came to the so-called negative emotion of spite, I realized that spite's not one of the bully inner editors. Spite helps you. Spite moves you along. When you get a rejection, let's be honest, you feel like garbage. You feel like you don't want to continue. Why should I continue doing this podcasty or not podcasty thing? Why should I continue doing this writing thing if I'm just going to get rejected? That's despair talking. Spite says, oh, is that the case? Well, then I'm just going to write harder next time. And spite pushes you to show them they're wrong. Now, I'm a short fiction editor. I know all the reasons why short fiction, at least, is not purchased. And only one of them is the story's not good enough. But still, if your rejection is your story's not right for our magazine, spite still has to drive you to say, okay, I'll send it somewhere else. I don't get angry very often. When I get angry, I cry, which is one reason why I hate getting angry. It's really embarrassing and it sucks. But I just don't get angry that often. And so when negative things happen to me, I usually go the direction of despair. It's just, the whole get up and fight thing is very difficult for me. Because I'm not really a fighter. So spite is something I strive for. You know, various things that I am angry about in my career. And then we're going to get to regret in a minute. You know, I'm angry that my publisher did not want to work with me on a sequel to 6 Wakes. Are we separated enough from that for me to say that out loud? I don't care. I'm saying it. That made me angry. And I'm still kind of angry about it. But what can I do? Well, I can write it anyway. I can tell you that publishers don't want it right now. It's been too long. I can still write it. I think I have a really good idea for it. But when no one wants it, despair is very heavy. And spite has to remind me, look, there's no proof those people are right. And I got started by podcasting fiction that I didn't think anybody wanted. So I can go back to that. Regret for me is often anger in hindsight, I guess. If you've heard me talk about agents, you will know, and I'm sure that a lot of you are going to go make a mistake anyway, but remember that I told you a bad agent is worse than no agent, because a bad agent is a relationship that you have to get out of and may or may not involve money, while no agent, you just try to get an agent. You don't have to get out of anything before you get back into something else. And I signed with an agent who was interested in me in the early days of podcasting, I think 2008 or so. He signed with me because he was Scott Sigler's agent at the time, and he wanted to grab all of the people who were doing big fiction projects on podcasts. He didn't care about what I wrote. And I did not have a great feeling about going with him. But when an agent wants you, it's like saying no sounds very strange. And so we did that, and I sent him what I was working on at the time. And he just didn't get back. He ghosted me for 4 months. And so then I had to fire him, which he also didn't respond to. So, you know, that was pretty easy. I didn't have any money involved. I don't even think he sent it out to anybody, so I didn't need to worry about other agents trying to sell the thing. They did try to sell it. It didn't sell. And this is the thing that's been most popular for me of the stuff I've put out via podcast. So that's why I wonder, it's like, oh, well, sometimes we just write stuff that publishing doesn't want. Ursula's done pretty good by that. Yes, Underpope. Like marriage. No marriage is better than a bad marriage. Yes. I've heard agents don't necessarily like the marriage metaphor, but it's really true. Because I don't know anybody who leaves a job, unless they're like really, 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 really unhappy and like fleeing something terribly toxic or independently wealthy, they're not going to leave until they have another job lined up. That's just obvious. But you can't go looking for an agent while you still have an agent. Just like you probably shouldn't go looking for another spouse while you still have one. I don't know why that etiquette is so relationship-based instead of business-based, but that's the way things are. Going back to it, my regret is that I went with more than one agent that I wasn't entirely sure of. They wanted me for my podcast popularity, but didn't really know what to do with what I gave them. And then again, I got an agent. I thought she was fine. And then she quit being an agent and passed me up to her boss. Boss did not sell science fiction, and she didn't like anything I was writing. And again, it was like, wow, this is a really high profile agent. There are famous people who make millions who have this agent. I should accept this as like a good thing. And I even had a mentor. I was at Stone Coast at the time, and I had a mentor saying, you don't want to turn down an agent from that agency. And still, it held me back because she didn't want to sell what I was working on. So I have a lot of regret there. I have regret of shyness. The whole no one wants to talk to me problem. That's my Douglas Adams story, which is my husband and I really wanted to meet him. This was Atlanta 1998, I think. Whenever Starship Titanic came out, because he was promoting it at the E3, the Electronic Entertainment Expo, which I don't think is around anymore. And we saw him, and we were really, really shy and nervous when we walked away. And then we thought, wait a minute, when are we going to get a chance to see Douglas Adams again? And we went back, and he'd left. And so our one chance, we blew it, and then he died of a heart attack. One of my biggest regrets is difficult to figure out. I have been constantly, I look at myself and my flaws and my career honestly. I get this feeling of when you identify something that gives you like power to say, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't eat candy for breakfast every day. I know this now, and my life will be better because of it. And eating candy for breakfast every day is a very simple metaphor I'm using here, because for years I've been acknowledging that I have been too afraid to write tougher stuff or weirder stuff. And every time I stop myself from writing something weird, I read a book where someone came up with something weirder and they sold it and they got a book deal. And I acknowledge this, but I don't know how to move forward with this. I have this regret of, okay, so I acknowledged it, I identified it, but it's not as easy as, okay, I won't eat candy for breakfast anymore. I'll just get me some fruit. I don't know. It's just hard to know what the next step is after identifying it. And of course, the deal is that the answer feels like, well, don't do that thing. Don't be afraid. Just go write weird stuff. But anybody who is still, struggling to make a writing career knows that, oh, just sit down and write it is not as easy as you think. So, yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to use regret as I use spite, but it's harder for me. I think the problem with regret is it feels like it validates every bad thought I had in the first place. And I think people have said that regret is a good emotion because it tells you what not to do in the future, which is great. If you regret being mean to somebody or cheating on a boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, it's like, oh, well, this feels bad. Maybe that is the signal not to do this. But when it comes to active, creative work, it's not so simple. I am checking chat. When I got my ADHD diagnosis, I know why I'm procrastinating, etc. Why am I still doing it? Yeah. Well, I feel a little validated that, there's a bunch of hormones in my brain, or in a lot of cases, a lack of hormones in my brain that are causing me to procrastinate or be late or whatever. And I'm not fooling myself that it's a struggle to deal with. Ian says, one author I follow called it winning the lottery and that there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason, just blind luck. That is true. I still can't believe that I've sold a book, much less more than one. The kids are asleep says, then there are the breathless articles about how if you write in third person, no one wants your stories or present tense or whatever the new hateness is. Yeah. No one's going to look at a story and go, oh, well, that's third person. I'm not buying it. And I know this for a fact because I dislike present tense, and I really dislike second person. It's just my personal preference. Has Escape Pod purchased stories with both of those things? Or one or the other? Yes! Because I'm able to go, all right, well, I don't like this, but I'll see what the rest of the story has going for it. Which is what anyone will do. On the other hand, what gets you noticed online is breathless hot takes, not well-written, thought-out things. I just feel disingenuous if I look at things like that. Apparently there is an article Valerie's referring to. Space Valkyries is here, hello. Oh my god, that article, so I guess you've read it too. Regret seems to be recursive in how we start circular logic because, yeah. Yeah, okay, Kimmy, we can't, especially when it comes to mental health, just identifying something doesn't fix it. Physical health, that's a lot easier. Still challenging at times, but mental health, it's, okay, so I'm officially depressed, great. I think the biggest problem is I get in my head if I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to write weird now, and instead of just like, let's explore that story I had lurking in the back of my head, I'm saying, okay, it's time to write weird. Is that sentence weird? I don't know. Is that character weird? Probably not. And I find it difficult to go into almost any sort of writing with a clear outside influence beyond like a prompt. Like I can do a prompt and I can do whatever story's in my head. But if someone says, hey, write me a fairy tale retelling, I will pretty much write something one-to-one beats. I can't go into them and expand the story and go places the original didn't do, like Ursula and Naomi Novik can do. That's just not my skill set. And, you know, sitting down and going, not I'm going to write that weird story, but I'm going to write a weird thing. It's just, no, I don't know. Maybe it's the whole, plotters versus pantsers thing? I'm not sure. If you guys are outliners and also find it difficult to write to something at a drop of a hat, let me know. But all I know is, for me, just giving myself permission to create bad videos, which is how someone tried to get me to make more videos online. He's like, all right, well, I challenge you to make something bad that nobody watches. And I'm like, okay, well, that is an interesting challenge. But it still didn't quite give me the freedom that I thought I needed to do so. But trying to be weird on the spot is like when someone asks you, what's your favorite book? And you forget every book you've ever read in your life. Yes. I look at people who have clear goals, and I'm not sure ADHD people are good at clear goals. Because I know very few creative people who don't have ADHD. I do know some. I think I know 3 at this point, maybe 4. But, you know, struggling to get something out feels like a monumental task every single time. Every time you write a book, it's the first time you've written that book. Gene Wolfe said that to somebody I don't like very much, so I'm not quoting him. But Gene Wolfe said that whenever you don't learn how to write books, you learn how to write that book. And then when you're done with that book, you got to write another one. And so you got to learn again. Woohoo. Underboat feels like you're the only writer who does not have ADHD in one form or another. That's great. I mean, it's most creative people I know have it, but that's not a requirement. Being able to be creative is one of the few perks that comes with it. We're discussing SMART goals. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-based. They're the bane of fire writers' existence. They aren't, I don't think they suck in all the way, because the SMART goal says, like, the goal that you really can't aspire to is, I'm going to get published in 2026. The SMART goal would be, I'm going to write 30 minutes a day in 2026, which hopefully will lead to the goal that you can't actually achieve or measure. My scale for each thing is apparently not the same scale as it's meant to be for work. I see. So we've gotten off the topic of the regret and the spite. I think I'm going to be using spite a little bit more right now. I don't have another contract. Yeah, I'm working on a couple things for just to send to my agent to hopefully sell, but I don't think I'm allowing myself to be weird enough in one of them, and the other one I haven't started yet. But I gotta move forward and get to work because he can't sell nothing. So if you guys have any questions or thoughts about regret and spite, let me know. You can let me know now in the comments, or you can let me know via email, mightymur@gmail.com. I stream on Twitch every Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Now we're in Eastern Daylight Time. Hooray! So you can drop by and ask your question live if you like. I think one of the most surprising things for me is to realize that other authors who I admire, or I think in my weird mind hierarchy, that they are more of an author or more of a successful author or a more talented author or whatever than I am, struggles with the same stuff that I do. I don't know. I know a couple of people who do fuel themselves on spite quite well. Not everybody, but then again, I don't talk about people's inner vulnerabilities to them one-on-one very often. It seems very easy for me to talk about here and awkward to talk about and very personal to talk about with another person, which seems very strange. But anyway. But I did start doing some merchandise for some of the bullies and the benefactors. And Spite and the Imposter Cop are my two favorites right now. And I'm going to make those available soon as I figure out how I want to work a couple of things. But I'm very much looking forward to my Imposter Cop t-shirt coming. Just to remind myself that my kid did the Spite art, did all the art. But the Spite art is a 3-headed Hydra who's had one head cut off. And it looks pretty happy, and it's got a pencil in its hand, and, it's ready to just write harder. Spite isn't a clean fuel, but it does burn. Thank you, Valerie. Micaiah Johnson? I don't know who that is. But yeah, and if all you need is something to burn, then use Spite. Why not? Maybe the readers don't want to hear what fuels us, but, we can probably tell each other. Nothing lasts on the internet anyway, does it? Oh, author of The Space Between Worlds. Yes, I've been wanting to read that. Thank you. But if folks don't have questions, I'm going to sign off then. I'm going to go see Macbeth tonight. Looking forward to that. It's a laugh riot, I hear. Just want to remind you guys that whatever fuel you need, whether it's spite or anger, anything that moves you forward writing is better than something that doesn't, which is like despair and distractions. So, there's my wisdom for the day. Don't be shy. Talk to people. Don't take on a bad agent. Keep writing weird stuff. Weird is hot right now. If only I could make myself do that. We'll try. I'll try more. I'll try writing weird stuff. I'll let you know how it goes. A little bit of scheduling. I will be here next week with Justin C. Key, I believe. Yes, Justin C. Key. And we're going to be talking The Hospital at the End of the World. So yeah, thank you for listening to I Should Be Writing, and thanks for joining me on the live stream, those of you who managed to make it. And you can see more about me at murverse.com. You can join the fabulous inner circle over at patreon.com/mightymur, where you'll get my newsletters, my exclusive stuff, my premium stuff, all that stuff. You can also join for free and just get the newsletter. That's cool too. I have tried so many newsletter formats and systems, whatever, and Patreon is the only thing that doesn't make me want to put my fist through a wall. So if you want my newsletters, just go to Patreon, sign up for free. You're not going to miss anything newsletter wise. I think Hugo voting is open, or Hugo nominations are open. This podcast is eligible for Fancast, so it's Ditch Diggers. Infinite Archive is eligible for Best Novel, but who are we kidding? Come on. Didn't quite get Best Novel attention. But Escape Pod continues to soldier on and try to bring fun, helpful stories to people for free every week. And Valerie Valdez and I work very hard on it. And if you're one of the Hugo nominators, please consider it for semi-prozine. I know I'm supposed to brag about the work. I am really talking about its reception. That's all. Really, I promise. I'm not saying the book is bad. I'm very proud of the book. I'm saying it's not gotten the attention that Six Wakes did, and Six Wakes was the one that got the nomination. You can also join our exclusive Discord group where we built a really fun community of writers. You can do that over at patreon.com/MightyMur as well. But check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv/MightyMur. And I think that's pretty much all the stuff I do. I do a lot of stuff. Keep working. Don't talk yourself out of anything, because you should be writing. Thank you for listening to I Should Be Writing, the longest running writing podcast in existence. This episode was made possible by the Fabulous, who support the podcast via Patreon or Substack. Join the Fabulous at patreon.com/MightyMur or mightymur.substack.com. Theme music provided by John Anelio, art provided by Numbers Ninja, and podcast hosting provided by Libsyn. This episode is released under Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives 4.0 license. You can find all of my books and podcasts at murverse.com.
I should be writing. I should be submitting my next draft, but I'm sitting home watching Doctor Who. Yeah, I'm sitting home watching Doctor Who.